Dear Hamza, I need your help. At my friend's school, that's right next to my school, there's this very beautiful and quite literally the perfect girl. She's an artistic person, she loves animals, loves to cook, and she is really, really feminine. Aside from all that, her parents are also amazing people, and since she has a good masculine father and feminine mother, they have great values, so their children are raised pretty well. My problem now is she has a boyfriend. Okay, I know I probably sound like a complete loser talking about a girl who's already taken, but that guy is horrible for her. The only thing he has are his looks. Other than that, he's a complete and utter Jeffrey. He drinks and does that kind of stuff. But that aside, he probably cheated on her many times during their relationship. Now, I don't know what she sees in him, but it's clear that she sees this relationship as pretty serious, and for him, she is just another attractive girl. What I want to know now is there any way I could get off her? It's pretty clear to me that their relationship isn't going to last forever and they'll break up eventually, but I feel like that would break her too much. I realize how much of a pussy I sound right now, but I just kind of want what's best for her, in this case, me. Oh, I also realize how much of a jerk I sound by writing that. So the question I'm asking you, for anyone in the community right now, is there anything I can do? Because of a lot of bad experiences in my life in this past year, I feel like I've become pretty good stoic, so watching them being together is not much of a problem for me. But is there anything I can do other than waiting? Advice would be greatly appreciated. This is a very interesting question, and I'll give you my thoughts and my advice will actually surprise everyone watching this. First, let's go through the advice that other guys have given you, and one person has said, why this girl in particular? Because what you've wrote above, of course, besides what you've wrote above, of course, I don't know her nor you personally, but it's as if you were waiting for someone to throw a sandwich to the trash bin so you can eat it after. Maybe I'm wrong and it's totally worth it, but why not continuing your life? And if she decides to come to you, then it's fine. There are 3.5 billion girls out there. Be careful with the one-itis. I've had plenty of them in the past and it never lasts. You'll often look back and ask yourself, why did you put that much energy into someone who doesn't know you exist? That's a good comment as well. Yeah, but there's something special about her. I don't think I have a crush on her. I do find her attractive, but not in the crush way, if you understand. I don't know, she just seems different. I've never met a girl like her before. Mathis said, the Jeffrey in that position is you, bro, and the guy you're describing is way more of a Chad than a Jeffrey because he's fucking the girl you're obsessed with. You should just stop thinking about her and try to talk to the other girl and work on yourself. I totally understand your situation, though. I've been Hamza, been there, and probably most of us have. It's her life, leave her alone. You can change yours, your family's, your woman's, but some other girl with a dude, nah. Yeah, so everyone's basically saying, oh man, there's plenty of fish in the sea, don't go after this girl. You know what I'm reminded when I think about a case like this, guy? Close your eyes and imagine this, okay? Let's say it's 1,000 years ago, and there's a knight who wants that woman over there. And the woman's not really having it at first because her father's rejecting it because she's due to marry this other man. And either her father or her mother, or the woman herself, look to the knight and say, well, we need to see if you're worthy. You're probably not worthy of me to take me in marriage. So go and slay that dragon. If you'd called that knight a simp, he'd punch you and multiple of your teeth would be knocked out. He would make you mumble like a fucking disabled man with one punch. So that kind of knight who would go on this quest for a woman is not a simp, right? You can imagine that kind of knight has 3,000 nanograms of deciliter of testosterone. You'd handshake him and by accident, he'd break one of your knuckles because his hands are fucking strong and dry from years of sword practice, right? So we could not call this man a simp. This is what a man would actually be like. We are not men these days. We would look like weird little fucking boys. You've got wide fucking hips. So just I'm being mean, but you need to understand this. In this modern day, we are complete bitches compared to what men used to be like 1,000 years ago. We have wide hips because we're literally developing like women. Most of us are developing mass in our breasts because we're developing like women because of how much of pussies we are these days, how feminine we are these days, right? So our judgment of what is masculine and what is a strong man do is completely out of whack. But you can just kind of imagine that's how men used to be. They'd spot the woman that they wanted, and they'd basically go on some kind of quest to prove that they were worthy. And if that woman was currently getting married, or due to get married to some other guy, who gives a fuck? That knight would have went out there, slayed the dragon, brought a fucking big fucking, who knows, like a giant's head back to the castle, threw it down onto the floor, and intimidated the man who was due to marry her. And then they would have had a fucking duel, and the knight would have won, and then married the woman that he wanted. These days, we call that knight a simp, don't we? Like, with our fucked up posture, we call that kind of knight a simp, don't we? Look to the comments of this video. There's going to be like a little 17-year-old who's got like sexy hips. Like, he's literally got like a butt that looks kind of nice. How fucked is that? That this feminine little bitch is going to be calling like what we'd assume is a real man, like a fucking barbarian, a knight, a warrior, a simp, because he did something to attract a woman. That's what men do, dickhead. That's exactly what men do. So this modern day, we think that you can't put in any effort to attract a woman. And I think that's anti-masculine. That's what we fucking do as men. We improve ourselves to attract women. We fight other men to attract women. In this modern day, everyone acts like they're too cool for that. It's like, oh, if she's already got a guy, just leave her, bro. Do you think that's what the knight would have sat down and thought, like, oh, okay, she's already dating a guy, so it's fine. He would have thought to himself, well, then I'll duel that man. I will go up to him and say to him, if you think you're worthy for her, duel me. And may the best man win and take her hand. These days we think, oh, well, she's already texting that guy after he's done fucking her. Maybe I'll try and message her later on. I'll try and like one of her pictures and see if she gets a try. Oh, there's plenty more fish in the sea. What I'm seeing from this young man here isn't a sign of weakness or feminine energy or Jeffrey. I'm actually seeing like old school masculinity here. This isn't even old school of like the 1900s guy wearing the top hat. This is like barbarian masculinity. Maybe that's what it is, because it's interesting what he said here. I find her attractive, but not in the crush kind of way, if you understand. If you had one-itis, if you were dreaming about this woman, and if, you felt so weird and obsessed over her, fair enough. But if you're logically thinking, you know what, this woman is actually like a prize. This woman is genuinely like a fucking really high-quality woman. Why wouldn't you fight for her? That's what you're supposed to do as a man. If you're against this advice, I guarantee you've got fucked up levels of testosterone, because you couldn't imagine outwardly showing your attraction to a girl when there's a bit of danger involved. What do you think animals do? What do you think animals... Imagine there's alpha male gorilla right there, and he's got a harem of like 15 different female gorillas, and there's alpha male number 2 right there, just slightly smaller than the big guy. Do you think number 2 is just going to be there like, he's the big one? They fight each other often. They have brutal fucking fights where they'll fucking like damage each other, because number 2 always wants number 1's spot, and number 1 always gets a compounding amount of women to sleep with, to date, and to marry. Before I go on with this, there's a very important step that I want you to do. I want you to scroll down right now, and I want you to click on the subscribe button underneath this video. And I know it sounds weird with me being like a fucking YouTuber saying that, but here's the reason, right? The more people, the more young men that subscribe to this channel, the more that this channel, these videos will get spread out, and the more young men that will see videos like this. You've experienced what it's like to follow this kind of advice, to get onto self-improvement. And what's your social life now? You're surrounded by fucking Jeffreys, aren't you? Because there's not enough people who are like us, who are going to the gym and becoming more masculine. So I want there to be more young guys like this. That will happen when you click the subscribe button right now. And you might think, oh, but that means more guys are going to hear this advice. It's going to be more competitive. Yes, that's what we want. We want to feel more competitive, because competition brings out even a better version of us. Even if there's a worthy competitor, we all benefit from it. We want there to be more guys on self-improvement. So go smash the subscribe button and rate, comment, and subscribe. But it really will fucking help you in life if more guys were like this. So go subscribe, right? This is my advice to this young man. Make your attraction known and navigate it like a fucking barbarian. Don't say to the guy like, oh yeah, I'll fight you for her or some shit. But make your attraction known to her. Even if she's got a boyfriend, fuck it and just say like, I actually think you're like, I won't give you the words, but you make them up authentically. But make your attraction known to her. She's going to say, I have a boyfriend, and imagine what the barbarian or the knight would do. I guess that they'd just go and kill the guy. You can't really do that. But you need some way to show that you are better and more of a man than her current boyfriend. That you are more of basically an alpha male, like let's say a masculine man who's strong, and you also are more likely to take care of her. So women are only looking for like two things, like a spectrum of two things. They want a man who is genetically and fit, like they want a man who is strong, just in all senses, strong. And this is where a lot of the red pill stuff comes in. This is where a lot of that sort of barbarian masculine testosterone energy comes in. Issue is most of these guys then don't hit the other metric that women look after, which is long-term commitment, because the strong alpha male, high testosterone kind of guy is also the type of guy who won't stay around for the pregnancy and look after the child. If you imagine in like the barbarian days, it was the alpha male barbarian. He'd go and fuck as many women as he possibly wanted, like Genghis Khan, and get thousands of women pregnant, and they would have loved for him to be the main guy who was raising their family, but they knew that he wouldn't, and so he was always like this figure that they couldn't be with. But the ultimate man is the man who has all the strength, but the woman also sees he's actually willing to commit to her, because that way she has the safety and she also has the provisioning. But that checks off both needs of what a woman has, and it lets her like escalate in love. Basically, a woman will see you as a higher quality man if you have both than just one. Most beta males, most like Jeffrey, like soft guys with low testosterone, they only have the commitment side, that they can say to a woman, look, it's just going to be me and you. I'll never cheat on you. I'll never make you feel scared or anything. And that's actually a nice thing. But the issue is most guys are so soft that that's all they bring. You need to be a strong man who is physically strong, who is sexually strong, who is physically, like, who, like, literally physically you could harm another man. Physically you could harm her. She would have no chance to win in a fight with you. Most men would have no chance to win in a fight with you. This is very important. These days, not as much, but there is always a primal subconscious attraction for the kind of man who has that with particularly feminine women. You want to have that box checked off by going to the gym, by going to martial arts, by sparring a few times a week, by becoming physically and financially strong so that you're making money. And so that, I guess financial would be more of like the commitment side of things, but it gives you an element of power and status, which also looks like the strength things. And particularly, you also want to have other options. A man who is very strong, like on this part of the axis here, he is sexually strong in the fact that he has an abundance of women who currently wants him right now. Whether you sleep with those women or not doesn't matter. You need to have the attraction of other women. You need to have multiple women who are basically, in a real term, are kind of texting you right now. If you have social media, they're liking your pictures. You've got multiple girls in your class right now that like you, that would want to be with you. If you don't, you need to be working on that. And the way you do that is by becoming more attractive. Imagine if you suddenly just got 100,000 Instagram followers or TikTok followers, and you were more cool and you looked better and you looks maxed, and you stop eating as much shit garbage food that comes like processed in a cardboard box, and you just ate like meat, vegetables, fruit, whatever, like, you know, healthy foods. Your skin cleared up, your jawline's better, you're looking more attractive. You go onto YouTube and style your hair in a way that's more attractive, especially for your generation. Then you build like the ultimate physique. You've got a six-pack, you're lean, your jawline's looking amazing. Suddenly there's like 3 girls in your class that want you, and your energy changes. And then when you come up to the woman that you really want, you don't come with this needy energy. It doesn't seem like you have that right now anyway. I really don't see like neediness here. I see a young man who just has a desire for what you seem is like a high quality woman. I think that this is good. Like, this is normal masculinity. No offense to these guys, but I actually think that these guys are operating with like low testosterone masculinity, which is like, oh, but you know, if she's taken, just leave her alone, bro. That's low test. That's like a fucking like anti-masc. When you really think about it, imagine if you had double the testosterone, is that still the advice you would be giving right now? If you had double or triple the testosterone, it basically healthy levels of testosterone that our great grandfathers have, would you still be saying like, oh yeah, just leave her, bro, she's already with a guy? Would your great grandfather have just left the woman? He would have at least went up and said, what do you see in him? What do you see in him? He's not this, he's not. He would have fought for what he wanted. And if the woman said, no, I love him, he's this, I don't want you at all. Fair enough. Many good men would have just taken a step back, but they would have at least made their attraction known. They would have at least had like some kind of verbal battle with the guy and even with the woman to say, what do you see in him? He doesn't have anything. I'm this. They would have fought for themselves. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. In the modern day, this is going to seem a bit cringe. Imagine if someone records you doing this and they post it on TikTok. It's going to look cringe as fuck, because any low T little soy boy Jeffrey is going to think that this is like, oh, he's being weird, he's being abusive, that's too much. She's got a girlfriend and he's trying to take the guy away and stuff. It's taking a girl away from her boyfriend is seen as like this really anti-moral thing these days, when that's exactly what men have done all throughout the ages. I'm reading a couple of books on like barbarian masculinity right now. You want to know them, right? They are Hard Times Create Strong Men by Stefan Ernio. They are The Way of Men by Jack Donovan. Read those two books, particularly The Way of Men and even Hard Times Create Strong Men. And it talks about the kind of masculinity that was unhindered by modern consequences. When you're the equivalent of, like, literally, you have bitch tits, bro. You're developing like a woman. And a big part of that is, you know, the modern world, the bullshit, estrogenics, toxins, you know, soy and all this weird stuff that's in the environment. But also a part of you developing like a woman is that you are not making the choices that a man would make. A real man in this situation would not just think to himself, oh, you know, that's a really awesome girl, but she's with a guy. Okay, sweet. I'm just going to go and look at some other girl, whatever. I'm just going to leave her. A genuine, like, strong man would walk right up to this girl the next time he sees her and makes his attraction known to her. I'm not going to give you the script of what to say because I want you to come up with that in an authentic way. But the moment that she says, oh, but I've got a boyfriend, that doesn't mean that you failed. That's like the moment that now you're influencing and you're convincing time. It should matter. She's not going to straight away say, oh, well, you know, you're right, I'm going to break up with my boyfriend. But you're just basically going to plant the seed into her mind. And if I'm going to tell you the truth, you want me to be totally fucking honest? I've done this, and I have absolutely no regrets in doing this. No regrets. Someone can say that this is, oh, you know, this isn't very moral. You took a girl away from her boyfriend. That's not moral at all, whatever. I don't give a fuck about that moral. Some men have their own values and morals, and mine isn't against this. If there's a woman that obviously I've got a girlfriend, but if there's a woman that I wanted when I was younger, I would go and actually try it. I wouldn't try and get her to cheat or anything, but I'd basically try and get her to break up so that she could be with me instead. And you might think, oh, well, that's snaky and stuff. That's like, again, remember, your perspective of the world right now is with your wide birthing hips. Your perspective of the world right now is with your gynecomastia and your little puffy nipples right now, with your low T and your high-pitched voice and your submissive body language as we talk right now. Your perspective of the world is not actually your own. And I don't say that, you know, all to insult you, but it's to say, man, look at what the world developed you into. Your ancestors, who were hardened men, would look at you like and think that you were just a lump of fat for some weird reason. You're developing like a woman. They would have literally like looked at you like and been so concerned why you're developing like this, why your voice is so soft, why you can't hold their eye contact, why you can't run more than 30 minutes, why you can't even run more than 10 minutes. Most guys can't even run 10 minutes. Your ancestors would, quite frankly, be disappointed in the fact that you're not a man. You're basically a weird boy who's in like not even in a man's body. You're a boy in a androgynous male-female body. So if you think that, oh, but this isn't moral, this isn't this, remember, your perspective of what's moral, what's right of the world is fucked up because the modern world has fucked up your hormones, it's fucked up your psychology, your spiritual, your sexual energy. And so you don't even know what's right anymore. All we can do is just kind of speculate what our great-great-great-great-grandfathers with 3,000 nanograms of testosterone, with skulls, like imagine like our ancestors thousands, tens of thousands of years ago, their skulls looked different. Our skulls look more like baby females these days. Our ancestors' skulls looked more like Thanos, like, you know, Thanos, he's in some fucking movie that all the nerds know, like Marvel movie, you know, some like fucking superhero movie or something. If I show you a picture of his skull, actually, Thanos face, this is what skulls used to look like. Let me show you like warrior skull. Or let me say like old masculine skull. Skulls used to look different, like completely. I want to find you a perfect. Skulls used to look different. They used to look more masculine, and they used to have more of a symbol of like testosterone. See the thick ass fucking jawline. And when we compare, like, let's say old and new skulls, I wonder if someone's done that comparison. There's a certain picture that I've seen which would display it really well. But basically, like our skulls used to look like we used to look like chads in our skulls, and nowadays we kind of have more like a baby skull. Like, is your head shaped like this? For most men, it is. Most men's head is shaped like this these days. These wide fucking beady eyes to look out for predators, big ass fucking intellectual skull. Which is, yeah, sure, it's nice in the modern day to make money from like a intellectual skull, but you are a pussy when you've got like this big fucking weak back of the brain, little tiny ass, little weak jawline and stuff. This is what most men look like these days, like this. Your man's skull. This is what it should be more like. We should have a thick fucking jawline there. See that? We should have a thick jawline. You still have like remnants of this. So I have the jawline, but I've got like a little fucking bitch back of the skull. Like my back of my head is like vulnerable. Like I've got like the fucking little baby head like on the back side, but I've got like the front side of a warrior. Let me just show you like warrior face. Or warrior skull shape. Like this. Our skulls have literally changed because of how weak men are these days. This is these are the pictures here. So this is what you want this is what we should be looking more like naturally without doing any kind of mewing or, purposeful things. This is what a lot of men's skulls are forming into. This is an extreme example. Obviously, these guys are fucking getting mugged right now, but like, yeah, you get the point here. What I'm saying is there's such severe things that have happened to men because of modern toxicity, modern addictions, because of like the programming that's happened in school to make you act not like a man. That nowadays so many people are talking about moral this, be a good man this, when really like it's not got anything to do with being a man. The way that we would have acted if we were healthy men right now would be completely different. There'd be no one giving this advice. Imagine if this forum page right now was 10,000 years ago and Ugg commented and he'd say like, smash his face with a rock, and he'd get like 50 likes. And then some other guy, Grug, would comment, take her. Now, of course, okay, you don't want to go that uncivilized, fine. But it's interesting that when men had no restraint on their healthy masculinity, their natural masculinity, that's what life was like. Now, that's probably not a good thing because that kind of life was brutal. Women were getting traumatized on the daily. Men were basically beating the fuck out of each other. But I think bringing aspects of that into your life as a man, it's enlivening. It's very enlivening. Being sat here right now with your legs crossed like you are, or, with your balls being squished with your legs because you don't want to take up too much space. It's not the kind of life that you're going to be proud of. It's not the kind of life that you probably want to be living. You probably want to live more of that high-tea, aggressive, Adonis lifestyle where you're not a bad person. You're a good person. You're a good man and good leader for the people in your tribe. This man right now is not in your tribe at all. He's basically taking the woman that you want to bring into your tribe. You'd want to be a good man for the people, let's say for your brother, for your father, for your friend. To those kinds of people, you would never even look at their women. You would never look at them. You would never do anything. But to a man out there, so there's us inside of our tribe here, and the men in here you treat well. You treat with respect. You never look at their women. You never flirt with them. You never do any stabbing, shady shit to the men in our tribe right here. But to the men out there, fuck them. Fuck them. We don't care about those men. In fact, if they've got what we want, as unrestrained men, we would take it. I would come with you, and so would like 3 of our male friends, and we'd get rid of this guy, and you'd capture his woman. And within like 3 months, she actually starts to love you because of the bonding effect. Now that sounds crazy as fuck. Okay, Hamza's being a bit weird. Like, I'm not saying it in reality. Let's go kidnap this man and let's go hurt him because he's done nothing wrong. He's just a young guy who's like looks like a Chad and stuff. Fine. But that's an extreme example. Maybe we should be 10-20% more like that. Maybe you should just go up with confidence on a day that you're feeling like really assertive. Go and speak to this woman. Maybe you want to like call her or whatever. You want to do it online. I understand. But you make it clear. And she's going to say no. I'm going to make this clear to you. If you're in this kind of situation, the girl will always say no. Because if she said yes, it would have been easy as fuck to get her. You would have been right in this post, right? The girl will always say no at first and say, no, I've got a boyfriend and I love him. But after that first conversation, if you bring it up well and you basically talk about how much better you are than him, it's going to plant the seed in her mind, and slowly she's going to be thinking more about you and less about her man, and she's going to see problems with that. And again, you can say this is more immoral or some bullshit, but again, it's like, why would you like place your morals on this other man who's got the woman that you want right now? Like, why? Like, and you might say like, oh, but you know, she's someone said like the used sandwich thing, which was like, oh, but she's with a man right now. But here's the thing, right? You want this fairy tale like destroyed. Basically, every woman who's high quality is with a man right now. Don't bullshit yourself. Every woman who is high quality, other men are with her right now. If you want to date like basically a Jessica, like a loser woman, she's probably at home on the internet every day, sometimes replying to texts, but whatever. Every good quality woman who's been raised well, who's feminine and who's beautiful, I'm telling you right now, has multiple guys. You need to get used to this, young man. I'm going to tell you this piece of advice right now. If you want to start to increase your standards and start to date and sleep with like high quality women, you need to understand you are always taking a woman from a man. Anytime you attract a woman, she had men in her life, whether she like makes it clear or not. I'm telling you, this is a brutal fact of life. As a man, we're talking outwardly about basically going up to a girl and saying your boyfriend ain't shit, whatever. But basically, if a woman doesn't have an official boyfriend or husband, trust me when I say she's got an unofficial guy that's she always has a guy in her life. Trust me when I say that. If she's a high quality woman, if she's not, if she's a fucking loser, then yeah, sure. But even loser girls always have guys in their lives anyway these days, because most guys will settle. But a high quality, attractive, beautiful woman who's receptive to you is of course already getting fucked or at least dating. Even if like, you know, you want to find this pure woman who has, yeah, sure, you might end up finding like one woman like that over your 40 years of life, like of being an adult. You might end up finding like one 22-year-old who's never dated a guy before for whatever like weird reason. Yeah, sure, okay, keep your eyes out for that. But in general, basically every beautiful woman, especially if she's high quality as well, like if she's a nice woman to be with, is going to have a guy in her life. So here's your life path, right? You either listen to this advice and you get good at taking a woman from another man, or you don't listen to this advice and you basically never attract a high quality woman, because the moment a high quality woman is single, what's going to happen? Now you might think, oh, well, I'll scoop her up. If a high quality woman, she is not single for long. The high quality, beautiful women are barely ever single. They're either always in a situationship or a relationship because of how high quality they are. There's like 7 guys who want her straight away. The moment that they see that she's deleted pictures of her boyfriend on Instagram, she's got like 10 DMs from guys who have liked her for fucking years, like you. And you might say that's like sad, that's simping. That's exactly what men do. Every woman that you want is already with a guy in some kind of way. And so you may as well get used to this of needing to be like the alpha male, like the best guy that this woman comes across. This, I know for a fact, so many little kids who have got no experience with dating will disagree with this, and they'll think that it's immoral, and they'll go sit there with like their breasts sticking out with their pointy titties and thinking like, oh, but you know, I don't want to live like this. I don't. If you had double or triple the testosterone, what would you do? Would you really go against this advice? Because for many of us here who aren't going to bullshit ourselves, when I spoke to you about, okay, me and you and a group of our guys will go and like capture this man, go and capture this woman, something became alive inside of you, didn't it? Some men will say, no, I'm a pussy. And fine, this channel's probably not for them. But for the kind of guy that I know that you are, something just felt energetic when I made you picture basically men from our tribe going over to a different tribe to brutalize the men there and to capture their women. Something happened inside of you. This energy built up. You know what that energy is? That's like your restrained dark masculinity. It's like this beast that the modern world has kept in a cage, and probably for a good reason, because civilization would not have developed. But I'm telling you right now, the healthiest men out there sometimes let that beast out of the cage. Sometimes they show their dark self to the world. Sometimes. Not in a violent way where they're going to go and murder some guy or anything stupid, because no one benefits from that. You'll get put into prison. Your family's all fucked up and sad because of it. No one benefits. So don't do any criminal shit, right? Obviously. But sometimes a guy in this modern day will think, like, feel that beast inside of that cage, like the gorilla, the lion, whatever animal it feels like for you. And he'll have that to force him to get into a martial arts gym so that he can start sparring and fighting other men. He'll have it so that he'll start and growing in business. And he knows that he's doing all of these things, whether he admits it or not, knowing that he's going to attract more women because of it. And sometimes a part of this is knowing that that woman's already got a boyfriend, already got a husband, already got a man. And now, fair enough, you know, if she's got a husband and children, you probably don't want to push that far. that's probably a bit too far, like, immoral. But if she's just got a cute little boyfriend right now, or if she's got, like, some guy that she's kind of dating, that unrestrained dark side of you, which is completely natural and actually healthy, the shadow inside of you wants you to deal with it. There's something you can look up which is called shadow work, which is basically integrating the dark side of your spirit inside of you. Because if you don't integrate the dark side, it will actually lash out in worse ways. Does that make sense? So, like, we have this dark side, all of us do. Many of us pretend we don't, but all of us have this dark, like violent, aggressive, like rapist kind of side inside of us. Every man does. Every woman has like this wrathful goddess where she wants to claw like other people with the nails and then bite them. Every man and woman has this dark side inside of them. If you are able to integrate the shadow, basically by like shining light onto it and literally thinking to yourself, like, if the circumstances were formed, I could probably brutally murder a man. If you can shine light on your shadow, like, I can tell you right now, like, there's circumstances where I would probably brutally murder a man. I can say that with no emotion, just pure logic right now, because I've shined the light on the shadow. Many people who are less developed and advanced as I am will look at that and be like, it's weird as fuck. But the more intelligent guys will look at this and be like, oh, no, I get what he's saying. He probably shouldn't say this online. Fair enough. But many people will be weird and fucking say like, wait, Hamza's a rapist. He's a murderer. No. This means that I know that I have the capacity to do that. I know that I could be pushed at some point, like if I was able to build up the picture in my mind to do that. Because I can see that, I can prepare for it. I can fight against it because it's not going to ever catch me by surprise, because I know that what instances that could happen. The man who hasn't integrated his shadow, the man who's too scared to shine the light because he's been told by society that he should be a good boy, that's the man who accidentally one day grabs a knife, has zero thoughts in his mind, and slashes his fucking family member in the face or something. Or that's the man who like walks in with his wife cheating and brutally strangles her because he never actually foresaw that. So it sounds weird, but acknowledging that you could be a murderer or rapist or violent criminal actually will make you less likely to be one, because you'll have the humility to kind of like act against it and to know when it could arise. Do you get what I mean? Like, this is mentally preparing for things. So what I'm saying is integrating your shadow can be a very important thing. Integrating your dark side, journaling and asking yourself, or just visualizing and asking yourself, in what situations might you go too far, and starting to like prepare against that. Starting to mentally prepare that if, let's say, you get married and you have children and you think, okay, if my wife cheated on me and if I walked in, that would be a situation where I would go too violent. You start to prepare against that, and you almost start to like play the movie of you walking in, seeing your wife get fucked by another guy, and without thinking about it, you quickly run outside the room and run away quick. Sounds weird as fuck, but you're doing that because you want to make sure you don't end up murdering both of them. You start preparing for something like this. Now, that's you saving yourself from like pure, like too much violence and criminal behavior. But you need to integrate the shadow, and especially sometimes let it out. Don't be violent towards this guy at all. That's not what I'm saying. Don't be a dickhead and twist my words, or don't commit any crimes. But you, like, it's completely legal and in my opinion, moral for you to go up and show your attraction to this woman, to speak to her like a man and understand she's going to say no that she has a boyfriend. But after that point, the seed is planted into her mind and she will get more and more convinced, because she'll start to smell her boyfriend's shits. He won't reply to her as much. If you can demonstrate both the strength, like the dark strength, and also the light commitment to her, she's going to really consider what you're saying seriously. I know my advice is really weird, and I'm sure that so many young guys will convince themselves that this is crazy, immoral, dangerous, whatever. Again, I'm making it clear, don't be a fucking criminal. Don't say that Hamza told me to make her cheat on me. Don't say that Hamza said I should go attack this man or anything like that, because that's not what I've said. But I just want you to think about what you would do if you did have a healthy level of masculinity and testosterone before the modern world stole that from you. Because you're probably going to get like overthinking and insecure and weird mental disorders if you don't act like how is aligned to your actual values and your own morals. And it seems to me, for this young man, you've actually got a healthier, like a mindset on masculinity and navigating dating than many other men do. I'm sure that other men will look at this and think this is crazy. Let them. This is at least my opinion, and it served me well. And I'm glad that I'm not like one of these weak guys with wide feminine hips who would say like, oh, but if she's just got a boyfriend, just leave her, bro. Don't get with a girl, bro. Don't be a simp, bro. To bring this all the way back to when we started, imagine that guy who that night who's told that like 4 people entered this big cave and none of them returned. And imagine him glance over at the woman he wants and he says, I'll go and I'll return with the giant's head. And he goes and faces death and kills a fucking giant that's twice the size of your father, carries this big fucking heavy skull back to the castle and drops it on the floor to shock everyone, just so he can marry that woman. Imagine calling that kind of man a simp, because that kind of man is going, above and beyond to attract this woman. Let's say even if she was due to get married to another man. Imagine these days, little gynecomastia kids calling that man a simp. What a weird world we live in, where guys who think that they're based and who think that they're masculine are actually the simps that they call others. Crazy, isn't it? So make sure you subscribe to this channel, because you'll spread this message out and you'll end up finding more guys who are like this, and also join this community, Adonis School and Adonis Gang. The Adonis Gang is the free one. It's linked in the description. Go there right now. Mwah.